Hi, and welcome to Cover Brand, where we cover all things branding, marketing, and advertising to help you understand what the hell branding is and how it works to grow your business. Welcome and welcome back to Cover Brand. We are doing our final episode of Cover Brand, Covered on Brand with Jimmy Fallon, sponsored by Samsung, featuring someone else, and also featuring Bozema St. John. With me, as always, is outstanding marketing and demand generation leader, innovative brand builder, and officially available for future podcast collaborations as of 1 hour from now, Laura Dodds. Hi, Laura.
Hi. Yes, please reach out. You can find me on LinkedIn. My current podcast stint is quickly wrapping up. So, just let me know for everyone out there.
But you're just so proud of what you proved to yourself, and you're proud of what you showed your family, that you can do it, that you have the talent and the grit to make it this far on such an unknown podcast.
You know, they already knew that I could talk about marketing a lot. I think they're just thankful that I talked to someone else about marketing instead of them.
Yes.
So I guess for their sake, have me on your podcast. Otherwise, they'll have to hear about it.
Well, I can't recommend Laura highly enough. And whether or not there's a major network show starring a major night show, talk show host or not, you should have Laura on your show collaborating with you. Absolutely.
I'm leaving Ethan behind in the dust.
Please. But I eat dust for breakfast. That doesn't make any sense. Let's talk about this episode. The finals. The final. The last one, episode 8 in an 8-episode season, premiere season of On Brand with Jimmy Fallon. You think it's going to be renewed?
If it is, NBC, call me.
Color commentary.
This one was just 4 contestants. We touched on it last episode, but we were down to the final 4.
Yes.
For this episode.
So who did seem to be the strongest and winningest through the season.
The eliminations were, varied and random, but we made it to the final 4.
Yep.
Mahari, Piper, Ryan, and Bianca, who were, like Ethan mentioned, at the top of our quantitative analysis.
Our standings chart. Yes. So today we're going to cover in this final episode the final client, which was Therabody.
Yes.
Maker of the Theragun.
Yes. I wonder when they switched to the whole Therabody brand. Are you familiar?
I do not know, except I think at some point they wanted to stop with the word gun, even though half the machines you hold are like a gun that massages. It's a massage gun. I mean, it's hard. We don't stop calling them glue guns, do we?
We don't.
Guns get such a bad rep. Anyway.
I have horrible news for us. It was in 2020.
That they changed their name?
Yes. They changed to Therabody in 2020.
Oh, that's not horrible, is it? I mean, it was midway. It was 10 years as Theragun, I think.
Okay.
At least.
Okay.
I think they were.
We were a bit focused on other stuff at the time.
Yeah. We were not yet so focused on Sydney Sweeney's great genes.
My Animal Crossing village, was really taking up a lot of time. So I think that's about it.
That's about it. The client is Therabody, maker of percussive massage instruments that you massage yourself with, usually portable, charged, with cordless. We had Jason Wursland, Dr. J, the founder of the company himself, and a chiropractor, and John Solomon, their current CMO, who has been there for about 4 years. That's a pretty solid amount. Previous, he spent 7.5 years at Apple, working on Apple and Beats and other things. He seems to be a pretty savvy marketer as well. And the brief was, I think, a reasonable brief. I think so.
Yes, I agree. It was to create a commercial, the pinnacle of marketing.
The ultimate thing you get to do.
just like every other pinnacle of marketing we have experienced in this show.
Yes, Jimmy threw a lot of superlatives in there, right? The crown jewel of advertising is to make a commercial. No, I thought it was to make a Super Bowl commercial. No, it was to work with a mascot. Anyway,
it's actually just to meet the doughboy is the pinnacle of marketing.
Yes. The
So
rolling pinnacle.
The campaign. Oh my goodness. Woo, the campaign brief was to make a campaign that let people know that Theragun is for, Therabody is for everybody. It needed to be edgy, fun, and communicate the benefits of the product.
Yeah. It was a reasonable brief. We have a new product. We want to launch it to more people. We did learn as the episode went on that they were pretty hyper-focused on athletes who are recovering from athletic endeavors, and that's why they would buy these Theraguns. I'm going to keep calling it that. It's like Kleenex. You're stuck with it.
Take a drink.
And I think that creating a TV ad that appeals to more people, that edgy was a weird term to use. I think what they really wanted was cut through. We wanted something to cut through that would grab people's attention, quite simply.
Okay.
Jimmy pushed really hard for it to be funny and entertaining over and over. He talked about comedic and funny and comedic and funny. I don't think the original brief said it that much. They just said, please introduce more people to our new Therabody sense and show them that it works for them, not just for athletes.
Well, one of the adjectives that Dr. J did use was fun, was edgy and fun. So that was part of the, wasn't in the graphic, but that was part of the original instructions. But
I don't think he wanted edgy. I think he used the wrong word. I think he himself did not know what he spoketh upon.
Maybe you're just too edgy for him.
I might be too actually edgy for his breakthrough, cut through desires. There was also a terminology thing. It's a small one, but I think it might be useful to talk about. They said they wanted a campaign with a tagline. And I think what they wanted was an ad with a headline. And the reason I distinguish those are they had a product. They wanted to do one ad to tell the world it exists, and they wanted a headline to go on it. To me, a tagline starts to really get into the territory of, oh, you want this to be connected to your brand for years.
Okay.
Right? Takes a licking, but keeps on ticking. Timex or Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. And a campaign as well is something that goes on and on for years. Like Snickers, you're not you when you're hungry.
Campaign doesn't have to go on for years. If it has legs, maybe you can continue to repurpose it for years. But
yes.
I disagree that a campaign has to go on for years. Sometimes it's seasonal. Sometimes it's
true. You can have a seasonal
to promote.
Campaign.
If there's new legislature coming out that affects your product, maybe you have a campaign around that you won't need to promote for years.
Yeah.
But it is long. It has a timeliness aspect to it, but I don't think it necessarily has to be for years.
I do agree, though, to your point about having legs or at least other activations. So a TV spot does not a campaign maketh, but a TV spot with social, with mobile, with support from influencers, that's a campaign, even if it runs for 6 months to a year.
Yeah. Now, Theragun or Therabody, sorry to cut you off. I liked this product a lot because this is one of the brands that I am fully in the target demographic for this campaign.
Seriously.
I've had one for an off-brand one, don't tell. Theragun.
A competitor.
For many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be shocking to no one. I'm not an elite athlete, but I do use a Theragun. So I was particularly interested in this brand because I am the demographic, and it's always interesting to look at a campaign when you are someone they're trying to target.
That's true. That's true. And that works both ways. Sometimes that's useful and sometimes that's a curse. But in your case, yeah, you're the target. I'm probably also the target. I also own a different brand of Theragun. I don't remember the name. I think it's Ice something. I do think Theragun has the patent on the percussive head. So I think they're shutting down the other brands. But I do athletics. I'm a once in a while triathlete, only the small ones. I've never done an Ironman or junk like that. I only do the ones you can finish in under 2 hours. And then I have stress, which, as we'll see, is another reason to want one of these Therabody senses. God, we're going to really trip up these words the whole time. That's fine. It'll be fun. We'll see what else we call it.
Therapy after this episode, I tell you what.
Yes, indeed. Although with thera being a prefix now, I think therapy is something that you need a cup for at your doctor's office. Who knows? So we've got no teams this time either. 4 people, all of them pitch, and then 2 go forward and they work solo, which also means all of a sudden, I think Jimmy surprises them with this that says basically there are no teams. If you don't make it to the finals, you're out. And there's no protection or immunity, which instantly makes everyone stressed as fuck. And you can see it on their faces. It's just, they're terrified.
I know, but this is ultimately a competition reality show. There has to be something, last episode, I could understand your complaint, but for the finals, there has to be some point where there's eliminations and there's a decision made. So it wouldn't make sense to not have a winning pitch, but then somehow win Innovator of the Year.
That is true. That is true. But I kept noticing how, and this is maybe Jimmy's style, because it's clearly how he does the Tonight Show as well. He's Mr. Happy all the time. He's like Ted Lasso before he got therapy, and was almost toxically positive and happy. So Jimmy bursts in. He's like, did everyone sleep well last night? No, of course they didn't. They've been biting their nails. They're worried sick. They're nervous. Great. Go do things. Go learn things. May the best idea win. Let's have some fun. Well, you can say that, but it's clear that these folks are dying inside because they're showing it on the outside.
Well,
let's talk pitches.
All right, let's talk pitches. Mahari went back to tried and true, what worked for him one singular time in the past, and that is superheroes.
True.
Where there's pain, there's Therabody. That really bummed me out because it makes it sound like Therabody is the cause of the pain. And I think a slight tweak to that, like when there's pain, trust Therabody or something like that, makes it clear that Therabody is attacking the campaign, addressing the campaign. But I really hated where there's pain, there's Therabody.
So the line was meh, but the bigger idea was you show someone in pain and then almost like a genie popping out of a bottle, or the State Farm agent when you sing the song. This hero pops up with a cape and then they give you a TheraSense or a Theragun. So a character. And in fact, they said that to him right away. They said, what did they say? They said, do we want to be associated with this character in the long term? That's a hard choice to make. It's true.
Yeah, that's true. There have been a lot of, like AT&T, the woman who plays that, like her whole life was turned upside down and inside out. Jake from State Farm, Flo from Progressive, all of these actors that have become synonymous with their commercial character.
Jan for Toyota. Yeah.
So that is a big commitment. Jared from Subway. It's a big risk. Brands are not super confident with that anymore.
Correct. Even if they're incredibly successful, which a lot of these were, or the most interesting man in the world, they tried to reboot him with another guy. It cuts both ways to get a live action character to be the face of your brand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Bianca was next, and she really struggled with actually getting the pitch going. She forgot all her script.
I thought she was acting, honestly. I really thought it was like, oh, I'm so stressed. Everybody's so stressed. I think it was acting, personally.
It could have been.
They
Or it could have
played
been.
off.
It could have been that people did that all season and they decided to showcase it this time and just not edit it out. And like, you know, people flub their lines all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, start again. It's okay, Ajel, start again. But yeah, anyway, her idea, stress will find a way out one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Let it go with Therabody. The line was interesting, but the concept was that someone was getting all worked up at the office and they could let their stress out by destroying all their office equipment, or they could take a breath, not go through that fantasy, and instead let it go with a Theragun.
Yes. Yeah, I really liked that one. I think it was fun. Some people could say it was edgy because they're destroying equipment and all of that.
Yep. And I liked that it was a single story.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It wasn't a montage of different people feeling certain ways.
Yes.
Then Ryan,
yes. Ryan had the campaign that was, oh gosh,
the most edgy.
Correct. Well, it started edgy and lost its edge.
But he actually did theatrics for his pitch, which he hadn't done since he ripped his pants off.
That's true. Why is all his theatrics a little bit of a questionable HR moment?
Well, that is true because he's edgy, I guess.
Yes. So Ryan and Piper's campaigns were functionally the same.
Yeah.
Just with a little bit of a different execution. So we sort of see people, for Ryan's campaign, we see people using the Theragun within a family and it keeps getting stolen, but then there's also making questionable noises.
Well, the groaning is the lead. The headline piece was, and that's how he started. He was behind the screen and he was moaning, oh, 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 oh. And of course, he comes around and Bozma even says, is this an HR violation? Because it sounds like he's groaning and moaning in ecstasy and in a way he is, because he's like, oh, I was just giving myself a little shoulder massage here with your little Therabody. Yes. So that was the joke he was leaning into.
Yes. But honestly, when we saw skipping ahead a little bit, spoiler alert, at this point, it can't be a spoiler alert. When we see his campaign actually executed, it kind of loses that funny gag of the moaning and groaning. It touches on it, but it doesn't drive the plot. You could have lost it. You didn't need to at all.
No, and they tried to, Ryan, to his credit, had two pretty good ideas. Not to his credit, he mushed them together into one script. Mm-hmm. Idea number one is play on this joke about moaning, and moaning sounds erotic, even if it's for something like just a neck massage. The other idea he threw in there was this notion that people steal the Theragun from each other all the time. Yes. And in fact, the clients said, we hear that all the time. Who stole the Theragun? Who stole it? Where is it? Where is it? Who stole it? Who has it now? So it was a real consumer truth. And he could have just done one about who stole the Theragun. Yes. And we'll come back to this.
And that was
in the final.
Also essentially Piper's campaign. But it was more focusing on sort of the people in her life. And so I do think that maybe the funny joke of the groaning with the gun is what put Ryan's above Piper's to make it into the finale.
I agree. Piper's did not pitch it well. She said that she was going for personal story and personal connections. So it was the names of her and her family in it, and everyone stealing the Theragun from each other. but it just didn't have a lot of pizzazz. Whereas even a couple excess groans in a couple of the wrong places made Ryan's scintillating enough to feel like it would have cut through.
Yes, cut through, not edgy.
Well, edgy enough. That one truly was edgy, as well as having some cut through, which takes us to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
We had
see
Ryan
Bianca.
as one.
Yes, Ryan and Bianca.
Once again,
the classic clash.
A rematch.
Yes.
Well, Bianca said, I'm going for redemption. And Ryan said, I'm going for domination. And she did this beautiful little eye roll, which should become a meme.
It was really a full circle moment because we saw them competing at the very beginning. And now here we are at the end. It's the two at the top.
Yep.
They are the final two. They get to produce their commercials. And
I have some beef. I have some issue when it comes to the show, which also gets to a little bit of brand science.
All right, let's hear it.
And it came in during this turn to the finals with Bianca versus Ryan solo with no team support. Jimmy said, casting can make or break your spot, which is absolutely true. And this is where the art side of marketing and advertising and branding is so damn hard. It's not all reducible to a science. If it were reducible to a science, the big companies would completely and utterly crush and obliviate all the small companies. There'd be no upstarts who started a YouTube channel. There'd be no soap companies that upset the Procter and Gambles of the world. There'd be no new Poppies and Ollipops that come out of nowhere to surprise PepsiCo. Because if it was all science, these big companies would have that in spades and the resources for it and be able to crush. But in this case, like casting is a great example. Like you can't reduce casting to a science. It is still an art because there are too many variables and we're talking about human reactions. That said, I have a lot of beef with Jimmy saying, on the one hand, casting can make or break your spot. And that's why we're going to surprise you with someone you are required to use in your show, in your commercial. We are foisting casting on you while telling you casting can make or break your spot. It was a shitty thing to do, I thought.
Fair enough. And to that point, I did actually have a note on casting for Bianca's. Our special guest star that they had to work with, was NFL quarterback Josh Allen, who is a spokesperson and I think investor in Therabody.
That too. An investor too. And so Jimmy just had all these weird things like casting can make or break it, but I'm foisting someone on you. You have to be able to create a script that adapts to any actor, which I don't think is a real thing in actual advertising. I think that's bullshit. And then, oh, by the way, he's an investor in the company, so you have to use him. Also, he is insanely famous right now because he's a Super Bowl MVP. He's a total hunk. And he's famous.
Total hunk. And his wife is even more famous than him, arguably.
True. And she's a hunk too.
And she is a hunk too.
So yeah. I didn't love that twist, but they both rolled with it and they both figured out places for Josh to have his place in the script, and then they did their filming.
At the same time though, like, yes, your point is valid, but it's also realistic that sometimes you don't have control or say over everything. Like True. if I had control and say, over every single campaign 100% that I've ever executed, that's the dream. I think I should, always have control and say over everything, but sometimes you don't. Sometimes someone nephew has to be involved.
In fact, 99% of the time, you don't have total control over everything.
Exactly.
I mean, we've talked a lot about how much these are team sports, how much the stars have to align for greatness to happen, how many cooks are in the kitchen and how many ways it can go wrong. So absolutely, it is realistic. It's just they added extra levels of challenge, and I think Jimmy put it a little bit under the guise of more fun and helpful as opposed to more challenge.
Yeah, that's
So
fair. Everyone should let us do whatever we want all the time, and that's really the feedback that we have from that bit of information.
Bianca's biggest challenge was, in a sense, to maybe potentially bring in more characters to show more use cases, because her thing was really about you get pushed to the edge, you get stressed, and you think you're going to break, but that's just a fantasy, and instead you're just going to use a Therabody, and that's just one person's story. Ryan's big challenge was, hey, you got all these moans and groans like people are having sex. How do you make that brand safe?
So
And
let's delve into Bianca's commercial really quickly. So the bit of my feedback on the casting, it's so small. I wish Josh Allen had been the one throwing a fit. I wish he had been the grunt worker who was being, we have a grunt worker who's doing work and then a smarmy manager that's like pushing his buttons. And so the grunt worker throws a fit and is envisioning throwing a fit, but in reality, he didn't throw a fit. He just used his Theragun to release his stress before attacking his manager. Yep. I think they should have had Josh Allen be the one throwing a fit and really highlighting him.
Yeah, that's true. That would have been fun. That would have been fun. And it was a callback to Office Space. Absolutely a reference to, I'm going to need that TPS report on my desk tomorrow. Cover page.
You think Bianca knows Office Space? She's very young.
No, I think that was from the director and from Jimmy and from people who love Office Space. Older people, backseat driving.
I think I'm wondering, Yeah. I mean, it's a miracle I know Office Space, so.
That's true. It is technically before your time, isn't it?
But I do know Office Space.
Okay, and then you had some comments about Ryan's casting?
Well, okay, the other note that I had for Bianca's, which I think we should get into, was that they gave her the feedback, we want to see more characters, more stories. And I was concerned about her decision to ignore the feedback. She kind of took it, kind of didn't. But I think it was a bad bit of feedback because the campaign has lots of opportunities for expansion, as we saw in, later in the episode, we saw that. But we can expand this by saying there are different scenarios where you're stressed out.
Yeah.
Versus adding more characters into this one commercial.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's kind of a classic bad client feedback to say, can you show more versions or can you show all use cases? And to Bianca's point, if you try to do something for everybody and show everything, sometimes none of it works.
Yes.
The old metaphor, which I don't always agree, but the old metaphor, throw 5 balls at someone and they'll catch none of them. And for example, Betty White's commercial for the Super Bowl for Snickers was one story about Betty White playing tackle football, which was freaking hilarious. And it did not need another character to show you another situation in which another person turned into a diva because they were hangry.
But then they took that concept and executed it in different ways later.
I love that formula. When it comes to levers, laws and levers of brand science, I love the lever of a repeatable formula for a commercial or an ad where, like Absolute Vodka, you can do more iterations of it like a sitcom. Like you can see more scripts. Oh, and this time we're going to have this person. Oh, and this time we're going to do this character. But each one is a story, a vignette, an actual dramatic thing. And Bianca's was exactly that. It was the story of one begrudging, gruntled, one annoyed, stressed worker. And having a fantasy of trashing all their stuff and then relaxing. And you're right. She added a button at the end after the tagline, which I have comments about, where it was the cleaning lady with her feet up getting massaging her own legs, and it showed a second person, and it was funny because it was the cleaning lady at his desk.
I think it was really bold to essentially ignore the client's feedback to an extent, and really stick to what was so great about her campaign. Yeah. That being said, now I know this is, every stand-up comedian says people will come up and be like, oh, you should have done this with your joke. You should have done that with your joke. And the audience doesn't actually know anything and it's annoying or whatever. So take all of this unwelcome bit of feedback to the commercial. But what I really wish is that the cleaning lady had actually come in to the mess and been like, who's going to clean this up?
Oh, yeah, that would have been an interesting thought.
Then the audience is like, did he actually do it? What's going on?
Yeah, that's good. So that's good.
That would have connected the cleaning lady to the story more for me.
Yeah.
But overall, I think she handled it really well.
That's a good note. The other note I would use, I would give in the production of her final ad, because there's the final ad that they shoot later, but her final ad for the pitch is the line she uses at the end: stress builds in your mind and then your body, let it go. It's clunky. It's very accurate, but it's clunky. And also it gets put up on screen, but not said. And having worked on brands with lots of TV for years, I have seen a radical and marked difference between brands that say their line and brands that don't, in terms of, does anyone remember them or see them or hear them at all? Sonic attributes, sound is a vitally important element of your branding, especially if you're doing multimedia stuff. And no one knows that Domino's has a tagline. Oh, yes, we did. Because it's never, ever, ever said out loud, even though it's stamped on the end of every ad. Everybody. It's news to you. Everybody knows Arby's tagline.
We have the meats.
You should take over Ring Rames.
I don't even eat meat, and I know that. Every commercial, I'm horrified, but I know their tagline.
Your baritone. And it calls at you from the other room if you've jumped up during the commercial break to go get food, right? You hear the tagline. So sonic branding is important. My buddy Shez Mehra and I are doing a whole bunch of work on multisensory branding and sonic branding. I just posted about the research on sonic branding. Sonic elements matter. Why don't they just say the line? But I understand why they don't, because of these conventions and whatnot. But if someone had said, stress builds in your mind and then your body, like, that would be a great thing to say. So they should have said it.
My guess is that they didn't have time for VO work.
Could be.
But who knows?
But, they had time for Josh Allen.
Bianca had time for Josh Allen. Ryan did not have much time for Josh Allen.
That's true. Ryan filmed all these people. He had a crazy script that had all these vignettes. He had a dog do something.
Dog acting, which apparently took up most of his time, which valid. I would be hanging out with the dog too.
Yep.
But
yep. There was a very funny moment when they were being like, oh, poor Josh Allen. He's just sitting there. He's so sad. He's lonely. He's being left out. It's like, screw that. You're on set. You're a professional. You sit around and wait all the time. And no, poor Josh Allen. He's Josh Allen, for Christ's sake.
I think Josh is going to be fine. I really do.
Another strike for Jimmy.
I think they were just concerned that they wouldn't get enough shots of Josh, and so the campaign wouldn't feature him enough.
Well, that's true. That's valid. But I don't care about his feelings. He's a pro. He knows how to play hurt and injured, as well as he knows how to take coaching.
We've got Ryan's campaign. We've got the brother doing weightlifting. He sets it down, and then the sister picks it up to massage her feet. And then the mom picks it up for what? I'm not really sure.
But then she wants to go cook.
And then she goes to cook, and then the dad steals it to use on his back, and then the uncle steals it because he's been mowing the lawn, and then the dog steals it. and brings it to Josh, and then Josh uses it.
Yeah.
And
So
then, oh, go ahead. Go
just
ahead.
the stealing, between the stealing and the groaning, it was 2 ideas instead of just one.
Mm-hmm. It was.
Yeah. And Bianca actually, go ahead.
Well, at one point, or at the very end, Josh goes, "I don't know what everyone's worried about. We have more than one." It's like the whole point of the commercial was moot. So that line, I think we could have cut, but
could have cut that, or he could have pulled 2 of them out of the couch to show 2 of them, because he somehow had 2. And then the piece that Bianca said, which was an interesting thought and would take a little more thinking to see if it's true during the pitch battle when they make arguments for their work and cut down the other people's, is that Ryan's really appealed to people who already had a Theragun and understood this thing that everybody keeps stealing it from each other. It's relatable if you own one. But hers was to bring new people into it who are stressed and don't realize they should get one because it helps relieve their stress. And I think that actually is probably a valid point. It's more of an inside joke for owners.
I wrote down the same note. And when I first heard it, I wasn't sure how I felt about it. But the more I thought about it and thought about the campaigns, the more I agreed with her. I do think that hers speaks to new users. Hey, it's not just for the elite athlete. You know, you see them on the sidelines, trying to use it on, you know, get some relief when they're on the sidelines or whatever, but it's not just for them. It's also for you. It can help with stress. It can help you release that stress. So I do think she had a really fair point. And
and the clients
really good.
Let's go to the winner.
Actually, before we do that, I do have to circle back Ryan's tagline. His campaign, I think, had merit, blah, 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 but his initial tagline, throw it away, man. Put it in steal your release.
Yeah. Well, he was trying to do 2 ideas in one.
Yeah.
And he did change the tagline to everybody deserves a release. Which better. I think it was better, but it's still kind of a weird, it's almost a double entendre because the release is probably still vaguely an innuendo about sex.
And it was everybody.
Which they did not accentuate, and Josh probably could have said that in the delivery of the line. Everybody deserves a release. Like your physical body, as opposed to everybody. But, double entendres, I'm a fan of them.
Especially in such an edgy campaign.
Oh, so edgy.
Leads us to
the winner. Yes. Yes, the finals. Oh, yes.
All right. I'm going to need HR now.
I was just giving myself a neck massage, Laura. I don't know what you were thinking.
Of course.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
We do see they did mention, or as a quick reminder, this is not cohesive for the whole season. It's not reflective of every campaign. It's the winner of this campaign was the winner of the season. How do you feel about that?
Okay. I think it's fine to let them do that in the way that they run the show. I think behind the scenes, they might have had some conversations with the clients and said, Bianca's really been at the top. Bianca keeps delivering, Bianca, blah, blah, blah. So maybe she was more deserving. That said, they were going to actually produce a spot. And I think they really did have to choose a spot. And whoever did win this spot probably should be crowned the winner because they've eliminated everyone else. So I think from the mechanic, it still makes sense that whoever wins this campaign wins the trophy and the $100,000 and the trip to the Cannes Lions and all the other stuff.
I understand why the decision was made, but I don't necessarily like it.
Sure.
Now, this season in particular, Bianca was the clear winner. you know, hands down. She won this
Mhm.
campaign. She won Innovator of the Year. She was the most successful.
She had the highest points on the leaderboard.
Highest points on the official leaderboard. But I don't like, and we saw it in last episode, episode 7, where she broke down when they said
Mm-hmm.
it all like rests on this one campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, she broke down, and I felt that. I was like, I would be frustrated if I had done a ton of good work and really built up my portfolio, and then it all rested on one campaign.
True.
So maybe in another season, in season 2, with me and whoever else, you know, if we're going head to head, we're really competitive and we both have strong portfolios the whole season. I would kind of like to see maybe, okay, Laura won the final campaign, and then looking at the season as a whole. When I
Okay.
think about a well-rounded marketer, or who's going to get a promotion at work, who's going to get X,
Sure.
Y, or Z, I don't know that it's necessary. I mean, there's so many things that go into it, right? But if I'm giving a promotion to someone, it's going to be based off of their body of work, not necessarily one campaign.
Well, to that point, now I'm arguing your case because while I agreed in some ways with how they did it this year, and it was nice that it matched up, that the strongest competitor did win the final pitch as well. I think the strongest competitor. But Bose said something towards the end. She said, do people care what I've done before? No. They want to know if my strategy is going to work for the brand, and they don't care anything I've done in the past. It doesn't matter what I've done for Beats or Apple or Uber. They only care about this. And it's a little true, but a little not true, because she carries all that with her into the room. And
Yeah,
therefore people
exactly.
think her ideas are stronger, or therefore people would assume she knows more. So absolutely your past influences your ideas. And we've seen it in the show where Jimmy comes up with a thought like, hey, make it like the old dating game. And they assume, well, it came out of Jimmy's mouth, therefore it must be amazing. Let's run with it. Even though it was a terrible idea for Bianca's, or for who was it, Bianca's? No.
Yeah, it was Bianca.
The dating game. So absolutely what you do in the past influences how people perceive what you're doing today.
I 100% agree with you on that. You know, when I'm working with clients or I'm pitching a new client or whatever, they don't say what's the first question isn't what is your strategy for me?
Right.
It's what have you done for other people? And when
True.
I can demonstrate that I've done something for other people that is somehow related to what I would do for them, they trust me more, and I have that authority
Yes.
and thought leadership
Yes.
to like, okay, they've done this before for so and so, so I trust that they're going to have the skills to do it again.
Which frankly, from a brand science perspective, is just a strong brand. It's branding 101, branding 001, which is that your reputation is how people are assessing things, not just your performance. So I'll buy a Gillette razor knowing that it's got 100 years of technology and safety and reliability, and I'm not going to get one that cuts my face up. Or when I go get a tequila and I get Casamigos or whatever it is, the George Clooney tequila, well, that one's not as much. The Ryan Reynolds gin, how about that one? Aviation.
Okay.
Ryan Reynolds, I'm sure you're listening, but Ryan Reynolds has made a gin, and of course it's going to taste different because I know Ryan Reynolds made it. Like, it
Okay.
has an impact on us, and that's branding. Branding 101.
Just to clarify, you know, he's not actually like distilling it, right?
Oh, he is. He
Oh,
picked
of course. Of
botanicals
course.
that go into it.
He actually built all of the towers for Mint Mobile to run on, and
He
he
does that. He
coded
does so much.
Mountain. He's very busy.
Yeah, no,
He's
he
very,
chooses
very
how to
busy.
macerate the hand-picked botanicals for his
Of
aviation gin.
course. Of
But
course.
all this is to say, you're right. You don't get judged just on the current day's work. You get judged on your brand, your history, your reputation. And it's the same for your own brand if you're selling a product. Is people judge you based on the whole Megillah.
What I would have liked to see is I would have liked to see them award the winner of the Therabody account. And then maybe say, all right, we're going to look at the client feedback that we've received throughout this whole season. And then they could show us clips of the client saying, well, we liked Bianca's because of this, or we liked Ryan because of that.
True.
This, and then sort of reflect on all of the feedback, their entire body of work, to then declare a winner. But that's, I'll let Jimmy know. I'll let Jimmy know.
Yeah, he'll take that note, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Although,
for sure,
truth be told, I'm sure they threw this together. This is their first season. It will probably morph and evolve as well as they figure out what worked and what didn't. Apparently, Jimmy can't handle firing people. So you can't do that. In fact, did you notice they never said, after the first one or two, they never said, you go. They only said, who are staying. And then you could avoid saying goodbye. You're out. You're a loser.
If you want job security, go work for Jimmy Fallon, because he can't fire be
you.
Letting people go.
What he'll do is he'll bring everyone together for a town meeting and say, okay, these 6 people, you still have jobs. Let's go. Have fun.
What are your overall reflections on the show now that we have completed it? From my perspective, which is the brand science perspective always, or at least that's what I try and do. I think otherwise it was known as the right perspective.
Obvi. I think it was a fun and interesting romp through marketing and advertising. Clearly, when it comes to marketing, there's confusion about is marketing just ads and just slogans and taglines and jingles? No, marketing is your price, your product, where you're distributed. It's a lot of other things, which they didn't touch. But nonetheless, when it comes to ads and slogans and jingles and all the obvious things, it was a really fun romp through that, and seeing a bunch of people, some of whom had a little more facility with that and some of whom were very new, try their hand at it. It was interesting and sadly sometimes typical to see some of the client feedback. But then again, these are most of them very classically trained brand marketers. Mm-hmm. So a lot of their feedback is honed from years of experience, telling people we need to feature the product, or telling people make the logo bigger, or we need a role for the mascot.
What if everything was orange?
Yeah, make it all orange. God, wouldn't that be terrible if someone kept saying make it more orange?
It would be horrible.
But it was a good romp.
I think to your last point, though, that is part of the job being a marketer, is learning how to navigate that brand feedback, especially in an agency, is learning how to navigate that pivot and be triumphant.
Yeah. And it does show you also how many steps and how many cooks in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. We didn't even touch on the fact that at the end of this episode, they finally showed us the spot that they will probably be airing, which is not an office worker. Although Bianca did win, it was not her actual script. It was the fantasy of a mom who is being beleaguered by all kinds of stressors at the dinner table, people bitching about the chicken being too dry, someone saying, where the hell's the remote control? The daughter texting at the table, which is annoying. The dog coming in, the golden retriever, and shaking water all over everybody. All these stresses. And then Alexa starts talking at her too. And then she fantasizes hosing everyone down with a garden hose and saying, is it damp enough now? Is it moist enough now?
Moist enough now. Yeah.
And then the son, as a joke, shakes his head dry like the dog was shaking its hair dry.
Now, even though that commercial was the least recognizable,
Mm-hmm.
compared to the initial concept. I actually think it was the one that was truest to the initial concept of the whole season. And that's what we were
Bingo.
talking about earlier about adding more stories and more characters. There are so
Yeah.
many different things that can stress you out and so many different ways this campaign concept can be applied.
Yes.
So it was truest to the concept of the campaign while somehow looking nothing like what she shot. And I
Right.
think that's a win. I really do.
I agree. I agree. Her idea was the best idea, even though the execution was not the right execution for their first spot. They decided to go after the home, the mom, a typical family, not a typical, a family dynamic, because a lot of people do live singly, a lot of people do live alone, a lot of people aren't in families, but they decided to go after that target for stress because it's a common and relatable one. But you're right. Her idea was the idea, and it was the next script version. And then you could see another script version of people traveling on vacation, another version of people in a educational environment, of the classroom of some sort.
Yeah.
On and on, where people get overwhelmed and stressed. They have a fantasy of destroying stuff, and then they come back to reality, and they've got their Therabody to calm them down. Yeah, it was true to that. But it does. It's a good little window if you really do watch all the steps into how hard, how many things you have to pivot and adjust on the fly for, how many things you have to improvise, how many adjustments you have to make, how much silly feedback you have to deal with, or how much good feedback you have to deal with, or who had great ideas here and there and you had no clue. So it's a worthy and fun little silly romp through advertising.
Yeah, I had lots of fun. I think there were a lot of the challenges that marketers face in their day-to-day life. I saw them reflected in the show. So that was nice to see. I'm a big fan of marketing, big fan of reality TV. So it was going to be it would have to have been pretty bad for it not to be a win in my book. But
does that mean we actually get to mention the classic strategy thing of a Venn diagram in the very last minutes of our very last episode? It's the perfect Venn diagram for Laura. Reality TV and marketing.
And that's all I am. That's it. Just those two. So write that down.
You have a simple complexity and a complex simplicity.
That's so mean. You know what? I'm not doing any more episodes of this with you.
Oh man.
The podcast is canceled.
Well, we do have to do where we cover every single extra on YouTube as well.
Oh, I'm
Just
busy
kidding.
that day.
As I said at the top, if anyone needs a lovely and fantastic show host, call Laura Dodds. Of course, we will be doing normal cover brand episodes ongoing where people call in with their brand problems and laments, and I try and help them with some ideas and solutions. We've also got this other format called Shop Talk, where I talk to other professional marketers about the impact of brand science in the wild. And Laura, I will be putting on my diary, putting on my calendar or in my diary, a date to talk to you in 6 months when we hear whether or not the show's been renewed for season 2, and we're back with On Brand with Jimmy Fallon.
Amazing.
Sponsored by Samsung.
I'm sure I'll be around. You cannot get rid of me that easily. I'm in your head. I'm on your podcast. Don't you worry. I know loyal cover brand listeners are like, get rid of him, make her the full-time host. And we hear you. You can stop DMing us that. We know he gets it. Unfortunately, it is his podcast. But I'm sure I'll be around.
I can't break my contract with myself.
And now it is time for the one and only, the final. And actually, I'm going to expand this to the whole show.
Okay.
One and only official Ethan Decker Award for Premium Stickiness of Season 1, awarded to the campaign that we'll continue to think about until at the very least tomorrow. maybe even the next day. Ethan, who wins the Stickiness of the Year award?
The stickiness of the season.
I'm
Well, that
mixing
would,
it up.
yeah, no, absolutely. I think that would absolutely have to be the crack campaign from
The
Sabrina.
crack campaign. Oh, okay. All right. Crackalicious. Crackalicious.
So silly.
Interesting that you didn't mention any of the campaigns that I came up with. That's
Oh, well, I didn't know those were in the running.
Very rude.
I need to read the terms and conditions of this contest.
All right. And on that note, let me share my 2 minutes to win it, the part of the podcast where I present the campaign that I came up with after
Once you
hearing
got
the
the
brief
brief.
in 2 minutes. So let me go ahead and share that with you. Now, when you see this, you might feel there's some hypocrisy after I chastised you for going a little blue. If any future employers are listening to this, maybe just skip ahead a couple of minutes. Because I did go blue with this as well.
All right, let's see it.
All right, here is my storyboard, and it is everyone can get in on the Therabody fun. So we have 2 people. Well, we have 3 people. Person A says, "Do you have it?" Person B says, "Yeah, let's go." Person C, aka Josh Allen, is a little bit confused. First 2 people go into a room. You hear the door close. You hear a buzzing noise and some semi-suggestive noises. Ethan, hit us with those semi-suggestive noises. Thank you. Then another person comes in and says, "Is it here?" And Josh Allen is again a little bit confused. Like, what is going on? That third person goes in, says, "Yippee!" and goes into the room. Josh Allen continues to be mystified, confused. More and more people come in. They say, "We can't wait to get in on the fun." All the while, you're hearing these noises, the buzzing. And Josh Allen is just getting confused to the point of anger. He's hearing all these noises. He doesn't know what's going on. He opens the door and he sees all of his buddies, all of his friends, and they're using the Theragun. And he goes, "Oh." And then everyone else says, "Ah." So a little play on the ooh ah.
There you go.
And everybody can get in on the Therabody fun. That is my campaign.
You had it. You had that sexy sound.
I did. Now, this was actually inspired by a real life incident where I was spending the night at my aunt and uncle-in-law's after attending a Formula One race. I had walked more than I had ever walked in my entire life. And so I knew I would need my Theragun after that day to release some of the pain and tension from all of that walking. I was staying at their house, and I was like, "Listen, I'm going to use my Therabody, okay? That's what's going to be going on because it makes a loud noise. It
vibrates.
It vibrates. And so I had to let them know. It is not a
vibrator. It's a percussive massage device.
I had to let them know, if you hear that, that's what's going on. And then I discussed all of the benefits of the Theragun with them. I was a little bit embarrassed to use it, but I knew if I didn't, I would be in a world of hurt the next day.
Right.
So I let them know what was going on. So that's what inspired this campaign. But now everyone can get in on the Therabody fun.
Can get in on it. I like it. Okay, that definitely would have been the champion, obviously, for the super sticky idea.
And
I
I'll
just
Venmo
hadn't seen
you
it yet.
for saying that. I'll Venmo you.
Okay, great.
Thanks for endorsing that.
Yes.
Uh,
And then we'll be even. All right. Laura, thank you so much for being my co-host on
it
Cover
has
Brand
been a
Covers
delight.
on Brand with Jimmy Fallon. And I'm sure we'll be back at least next season, if not sooner than that.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining me on this ride, and thank you to everyone who listened.
Yes, if you got this far and you are still listening, if you send your favorite campaign idea from the season to info@appliedbrandscience.com, we will send you some Applied Brand Science AF Frelk merch.
Now,
It's
do you
that
need
easy. Oh, we
do you
probably need your
to
address too.
your address? Yeah.
Yeah. So your mailing address and your favorite campaign from the season that the contestants created to info@appliedbrandscience.com. Thank you for making it to the end with us.
We'll see y'all next season.
Brand science works best when it's a team sport. If you want your crew rowing in the same direction, call me to learn more about workshops, trainings, and talks, oh my, for your company. Head to appliedbrandscience.com to learn more.